Hello again. Okay, this time I want to talk to you about medicine because there are equally as bizarre, crazy things that are happening in medicine, and it's in the same region of the Facebook science world where the scientists are now getting together in ever larger numbers and communicating. But this is, like I said, the stuff, the physics and the medicine and stuff that I'm working on, and in the last few months, a lot of people are getting to know kind of what's going on. But we didn't evolve the way people think we did, which is through mutations. Um, we evolved together with our flora. And what this means is that this flora is responsible for a lot of things that we used to think were um, nebulous, unknown. Uh, Notions like metabolism, um, and then notions of most diseases. Um, these are all created by this partnership that we have that nobody really has published yet. They're talking about it, but they haven't published it yet. Um, so, what this means, flora, what is flora? This means that virus, bacteria, and fungi evolved with carbon-based organisms. They grew up next to them in the individual person, mammal, even plants, next to them, placing metabolic demands on them, getting them to transcript, turn their DNA on, getting them to turn their DNA off, getting them to think that your cells are starving, or trigger the immune system, or trigger fat production, a lot of things. But it turns out that our cells are beautifully protected by antiviral fungal bacterial components, but also by this biphospholipid layer that's perfectly encased, like just protected like an egg. And we have 1 billion of these laying next to each other. Okay? So when we, as chemists and biologists and medical professionals, we do research and we learn about function, we're learning about this. But when we put all the functions together and we think and we induce and deduct how things then work, we're missing big picture. Things like how fast we evolve. We could never evolve with mutation alone. With one of these cells making a mutation, it doesn't express itself. Okay? But what we find is with this flora laying next to the cell that's laced throughout your body and that's continuous fluid-filled chambers all throughout your body and all throughout this floral component, a single change in this floral partner then means that this multinucleated partner now can change and can then express its change throughout your entire body instantaneously. When a virus enters your nose, bacteria, and creates an infection, it's not your individual cells getting infected. It's your partner, your floral partner, that has continuous water-filled chamber all throughout your body. And it doesn't like invasive species of fungi, bacteria, and virus. And so it says, oh my gosh, tickle, tickle, tickle to your immune system. Alert, alert, alert. Protect me. Okay, so dietary, aging, things like this, it means that we don't do things that help this floral partner. So we don't eat sugar. Now, this little partner in us has created a body that produces sugar when we get afraid, when we lose ourselves, we create fight or flight responses. Many fight or flight responses too. So, we don't eat sugars, and we stay calm. And this will do two things. This will help us not to age and not to incur disease and different pathologies. And there's one more thing we can do. We can breathe oxygen through working out, respire. And what this does is it creates an alkalytic environment in our tissues, okay? Which then kills our floral partner. And it holds a lot of water, so we instantly lose water. Now this floral partner has a 20% coverage on its cell wall, meaning that it winds around like a snake, okay? And its cell contents are exposed. So it has to work very hard to stay autonomous, keep all its contents in, okay? Now, if you breathe a lot, hyperventilate kinda, you don't want to hyperventilate, that creates a respiratory acidic environment, but slowly increase your respirations over time, like walking, jogging over an hour, 2 hours, can then create an environment, an alkalytic or basic environment that this partner now has to struggle with for the next 24 hours to try to maintain. And what it does is it grabs the fat that it triggered your cells to produce, to get sources of carbon to maintain its cell wall, its loose cell wall, you know. But the other thing is we can do things like eat garlic, onions, cinnamon, grapefruit seed extract, and, you know, moderate quantities, 2 cloves of garlic, teaspoon of grapefruit seed extract, teaspoon of cinnamon every day. And what this does is it helps to create anti-floral environments for this thing, this bad boy, to fight and to grab fat so that it can protect itself. All right, what does this mean for diet? So no sugar, eat antiviral, anti-floral, antibacterial things. But the other interesting thing is that by eating red meat, chicken, turkey, things that have floral components to us that if we were to get bits and pieces of in our bodies, our floral partner would go nuts and say, defend, 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 trigger our immune system, which then create these cytokinetic responses where we retain water and get bloated. So then we don't eat meat and we don't trigger this little guy. Right? And the fish don't have the same species of floral partner, and they don't seem to trigger the same response in our floral partner. Although some people that are allergic to shellfish do. Plants don't have the same floral species that hooved animals have and birds. And so it's not alarming our floral partner. So we find that pescatarians, vegetarians, suffer a lot less and are thinner because they're not triggering this floral partner in us to wreak havoc on our bodies like store fat and age. Now, if we got rid of this floral partner, and we can do it in some really bizarre physics ways by eating things like silver that are completely dangerous and I would never do, nor would anybody else I know, and or sharpening for electricity, or if we were to get rid of them though, we might be able to live 400 years, maybe longer. In the laboratory, when we get rid of the floral partner using electricity, and we watch the red blood cells and cells that are supposed to decay and die within a few hours. They live for 2 weeks. They don't ever die. So, some of these things that I used to read, and I do read in the Bible about people living 900 years, and they're scratching my head, now very well may be possible. If we consider sin itself as this floral or snake-like innervation in us, and getting rid of sin and clear up our thinking, will get rid of disease, help us to live 1, 2, 3, 400, possibly longer years, and we'll be nicer to each other. Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.